Tanzania and Russia have been very good and effective friends for the past 63 years. We have cooperated in many areas, mainly in the areas of politics and, of course, our diplomatic relations, which have gone uninterruptedly for the past more than 60 years. So Tanzania and Russia have been friends, have been comrades in those areas. But also we have cooperated in the areas of training. Many of our scientists in various fields, including engineering and medicine, were trained in Russia. Indeed, our Minister for Natural Resources and Tourism, she's a product of the Russian education system, which is why you can see her greetings in Russia are as smooth as she put them here, as you saw it. So, but it is only on 29th December 2022 when we signed the first joint intergovernmental cooperation agreement in trade and economic cooperation. So the first 60 years of our cooperation were mainly in the areas of politics and, of course, education and other diplomatic relations. And in those areas, it is difficult to discuss the political landscape of this country without making reference to the former Soviet Union and the current Russian Federation. Our politics are heavily influenced by the politics of that country. It is also difficult to trace various developments in our science and technology and training in general without making reference to Russia. I have a number of friends that I taught at the university who are a product of the education system, as I said earlier. But, as I said, it is the first time that we are venturing into serious cooperation in the areas of economic development. And to the best of my recollection, this is the first forum on business and investment. And I think this is very important. I therefore want to thank our Permanent Secretary, Dr. Tausi Kida, and her team, as well as our Russian friends, the director here, for their decision to put up this forum and for the excellent organization. We also thank the sister institutions, our Tanzania Investment Center, for their proactiveness in ensuring that this forum was organized and organized successfully, because we just gave them this task just about a week ago. And I cannot believe that it has been as successful as I can see it. And of course, we thank our two ambassadors for their very good work in ensuring that the visit of Honorable Minister was successful, but also the forum was held here. Now, later, I know that our TIC and our friends from the private sector will talk a lot in terms of what Tanzania has to offer in terms of trade and investment. But also we have a couple of Russian companies which have successfully invested in Tanzania. They will also be able to offer their testimonies on how it looks like in terms of investing in this country. But I wanted to say only a few points in that regard. Number one, the fact that all investors are looking for. Number one is that if we are going to invest in country X, will our investment be safe? I think that is the question number one that all investors will be asking. I wanted to assure you that Tanzania remains one of the very politically stable countries in Africa and fairly speaking, globally as well. And that is the number one factor. So political stability is assured here. We have so far conducted all our elections very successfully and very peacefully. We have very peaceful transfer of power from one president to the other. But two, we know that only 20, 30 years ago, the agricultural development in Russia was not very big. They were undergoing similar experience that we are undergoing in this country. We have a huge land, very arable, very fertile. But this land is characterized with very low production. The productivity is very low. And what Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu's and government is doing is to increase, to up our productivity in the agricultural sector. And we can learn a lot in that regard from Russia, because you have been very successful in improving your agricultural productivity to the extent that it is difficult to talk about food security in this globe without making reference to Russia. As much as this globe depends a lot from Russia in terms of food security, we also have a dream of feeding Africa and even feeding the world. And I think that our cooperation with you can make that dream realizable. So we welcome investors from Russia to come to this country to improve our agriculture, and I think there is a lot of business in the area of agriculture. Connected to that, Her Excellency Dr. Samia's government intention and vision is to make this country a manufacturing hub in the region. And that starts with agro-processing, adding value to our agricultural products. And therefore, we are welcoming our friends from Russia to work with us in that area, in the value addition, in the agro-processing, but also in the other wide range of natural resources, including the mining. And we know that that is also an area that you are very good. And the reason we are doing that is that history shows that meaningful progress begins with increasing productivity, of course, in agriculture, you said, but with manufacturing. And 50 years ago, Africa is known to be able to transport her natural resources from the pit to the port. We think that before going to the port, it has to be from the pit to the value addition facility so that we're able to transport outside this country value added products. 3, in terms of market, Tanzania, as you are now aware, is very well geographically located. We provide access to a number of countries. So there is a big chance of making Tanzania a regional logistics hub where we can transport goods from here to different countries, including Russia. And given your experience, we hope that you can team up with us to make that dream realizable. But of course, as I said earlier, our friends in the Tanzania Investment Center later, they're going to highlight much more opportunities in terms of investment. And I hope that this morning and this afternoon, we are going to see very fruitful discussions between the businesses from Russia and the businesses from Tanzania, so that at the end of the day, we are able to transform our excellent years of cooperation in politics and diplomacy into meaningful economic development, so that we are able to improve the welfare of our people through trade and investment.
Tanzania remains to be one of Russia's centers of attraction in Africa. Tanzania is one of the most dynamically developing countries on the continent with a steadily growing economy. Agriculture, transportation, coal and timber industries, energy and tourism are actively developing. There is largely facilitated by a rich resources base and a growing population, which means a rising workforce potential. A growing economy always brings new opportunities for purchasing, selling, and creating together. Russia is ready for it. Our economy remains resilient to external challenges and continues to grow at rates higher than the global average. Our enterprises are interested in joint projects and entering new markets, sharing experiences and competences, transferring technologies, and adopting the best practices of our partners. We have a solid foundation for increasing our cooperation. Tanzania remains an important trading partner for Russia. Last year, we reached a historic high in mutual trade. Joint projects are being implemented. Young Tanzanians are studying in Russian universities. Tanzania is one of the attractive tourist destinations for Russians. One main joint task today is to understand the needs of businesses in both countries, to identify priority areas for cooperation, and to set goals for the future. On our side, we have defined strategic priorities. First and foremost is logistics. Tanzania's advantageous geographical location on the eastern coast of the Indian Ocean and its connectivity with other African countries opens up great opportunities for Russia. Tanzania could become a single entry point for our products to the African continent, continuing the development of the North-South transport corridor. At the same time, our country can serve as a window for Tanzania into Eurasian Economic Union market. There is a significant potential for cooperation in the energy sector. This includes the development of peaceful nuclear energy, construction of renewable energy facilities, and mining of natural resources. We will focus on agriculture, pharmaceuticals, digitalization of the economy, and urban environments. And of course, tourism. We are ready to discuss all these areas and address issues related in settlement and establishing contacts between our banks. We are also interested in joint projects in the social sector, education, science, and healthcare. Dear colleagues, your visit was preceded by extensive preparatory work on both sides. Therefore, I am confident that the forum will be productive and that will strengthen our national economies and thus bilateral cooperation. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our Tanzanian partners once again for their hospitality and members of our business delegation for deciding to visit Tanzania with your business proposals. While on my way here, I learned about African philosophical concept of Ubuntu. It's very close to Russian mentality. If we translate it into the context of trade and economic relations, having Ubuntu means to see your counterpart as an equal partner, to respect their position and interests, and this will lead to mutually beneficial cooperation. We are set on such cooperation. I wish everyone success in their work. May the contacts established today develop into new experiences, promising projects, and strong friendship. Thank you very much.